Hi folks, and welcome to another D French guitar lesson. Today I'm going to talk about my four-step approach to learning a new skill or song on the guitar. I call it the T.E.R.M method, which stands for technique, efficiency, rhythm, and musicality. If you follow this method, I guarantee you will have success at any level. Before we get started, go ahead and push that subscribe button to receive updates on future videos. So with this exercise I created to help develop fingerstyle. And what we're going to do is we're going to break it down first with the right hand and then with the left hand. So luckily for this one, the right hand uses a repetitive finger picking pattern that we're going to learn right now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start with the first chord, which is third finger on the low G, 3rd fret. And we're just going to hit the G and the B at the same time. So we're just teaching our right hand how to remember that. And then we're going to fill in with the open G. And that's going to be constant throughout this entire technique. So we're just going to go one, and. So just do it slowly in the beginning. And once you feel confident that you have it down, we'll move over to the left hand. So with the left hand, what we're going to do is we're going to go from our G and B, which is a 3rd, up to our A, C, continuing to hit that open G. So, and when I'm learning something on the left hand, I like to break it down in chunks instead of trying to learn the whole thing at one time. So if we break it down into chunks and then keep adding new chunks to it, eventually we'll have the whole pattern. So we're just going to do this G to A a few times until we feel comfortable. So just keep working on it. Okay, now the next step is efficiency. And that just simply means getting from point A to point B with as little effort as possible. And I try to avoid retreating, and I always find that new guitarists or new students like to retreat their fingers after they play a note. So they'll hit the note, and then they'll retreat down here. Well, all that does is make it harder to get back to where you wanted to, where you started. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep our fingers in position. So with this technique, going from here to here, all I'm doing is lifting my 3rd and at the same time pushing down on my 1st. But notice that my 3rd finger doesn't go anywhere, it stays in its location, just lifts off the finger. Okay, so once we have that, we want to get the rhythm. And rhythm just means playing in time. And that's one of the most important aspects of playing an instrument. You can play as fast as you want, but if you can't play in time or with good rhythm, you're useless, especially if you're playing with other players. So what we want to do, and a lot of times you can work with a metronome, that's a good way to develop this, but just kind of get a beat in your head. You can tap your foot to it, you can move your head, whatever you need to do to get a rhythm going. Okay, now I got the rhythm, I got the technique, and I got the efficiency. Now let's work on the next chunk. So we're going to go from our G, A, B with a D, which is a 3rd, minor 3rd there, back, okay, so again I'm employing all of those steps, starting with the technique, technique down, teaching my fingers where to go. Then I'm doing the efficiency, where I'm keeping my 4th finger in position even if it's not playing. So I'm doing very little movement with my fingers. I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. Okay, now I got those 3 steps down, or those 2 steps. Now I want the rhythm, number 3. And I just like to keep repeating it until it becomes effortless. We can speed up the tempo if we want. musical. So we got our first chunk to this exercise, and it sounds great. We got the technique, our fingers are moving effortlessly, we got the rhythm down, but we're making music here, so we want it to sound nice. And this just means putting a little emotion into what you're doing, a little feeling. But again, you can't make a musical if you don't have the technique down. So the first thing you ever have to do when you're learning something new is just get that technique and then work towards making it musical. Once you have all that down, now we're going to move on to the next piece. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to slide up to our C, E. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to teach our fingers to get from this position to this position. So I'm working on my technique, efficiency. I'm keeping my fingers in position, just swapping them out when I need to. Okay, now we'll work on the rhythm. Okay, once I feel like I have that down, now we're going to put it together with the beginning. Next piece. It's going to go from our C to our D with the F sharp. Again, there's not a lot of technique involved in this. You're just keeping the same position or the same finger position and just moving it forward. Okay, so I'm getting the efficiency down. My rhythm. Okay, now let's put it all together and make it musical. Okay, we're almost there. So we're building this exercise one piece at a time so we don't overwhelm ourselves. And that's really crucial whenever you're learning something new, is just take your time and learn it piece by piece. If you try to do the whole thing at once, you're going to get frustrated, and that's when people quit. Okay, now we're going to go from our D up to our E with the G in a third. And when we go from here to here, we're going to replace our first finger with our second finger because we want to be efficient. So again, technique, efficiency, rhythm. Okay, and let's put it together. Okay, we're almost there. Now we're going to go from our E with our G third up to our F sharp. Where to go. Okay, now let's work on efficiency. Again, this keeps the same pattern or the same position, so we don't have to change anything. Okay, now let's add it to the rest of it. One more piece left, and that's our resolve. So we're up here at our octave, our G octave, and this is the same notes that we started with. We're just moving it up one octave. So basically going to the end of the scale and back. And again, this one we're going to replace our first finger, our second finger with our first finger as we slide forward. Now let's put it all together and make it musical. Alright, now let's have some fun with it and do some different variations. and see how it works for you. Again, it's technique, efficiency, rhythm, then musicality. And the musicality part's the most important part because that's where it sounds good, that's where it's pleasing to the people listening to it. So for more lessons like this, click on the links in the description. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you in the next lesson.